After Effects supports a tremendous variety of footage types, including movies, stills, audio, Photoshop or Illustrator files, and even entire projects from After Effects, Premiere, and other applications. I'll import some files now, which will illustrate one of the great strengths of After Effects. There are usually many ways to do things in After Effects. For example, we can import using the File menu, or by right-clicking to get an import menu here in the project window. But everyone's favorite shortcut for this is to just double-click anywhere that's open in the project window, and that brings up the import dialog box. And if your monitor setup allows you to see your Finder on the Mac or Explorer on Windows, you can drag files directly from a window into After Effects. Once imported, you can generally tell what kind of file you're working with based on its icon, and there's a helpful label next to the name identifying the file type too. Note that Illustrator files and Photoshop files can be imported as individual elements, but you also have the option to import an individual layer from a multi-layered file. Or most useful of all, perhaps, you can also import these file types as compositions. Get used to this feature and you'll often find yourself designing whole scenes in Photoshop or Illustrator only to import them into After Effects for final motion. When you import a layered Photoshop or Illustrator file, you'll have the option to retain a layer's original size or expand that size to the size of the comp. In most cases, you'll want to preserve the original layer size. When you import a single file as a composition, it looks a little different in the project window. Instead of a file icon, the main icon for the file is now a composition icon. It looks like any other composition you create in After Effects. And the contents of the composition, which correspond to the layers in the source, are stored in a folder that shares the name of the original file. Now, speaking of folders, while After Effects generates them automatically for certain file and element types, you'll often create them yourself in order to keep things organized. That's easy to do by just clicking on the New Folder icon at the bottom of the window, or by selecting a group of files that you want to organize together and dragging them onto the New Folder icon, which magically makes a new folder and adds the selected items to it. To rename a folder, or any element in the project window for that matter, just select it and hit the Return key on your keyboard, type a new name, and hit Return or Enter again. You can sort things alphabetically or reverse alphabetically by clicking on the title column. And if we expand this window by using the tilde key, the little squiggly key way up left on your keyboard, and this works on any window in the UI, by the way, to quickly expand that window to full screen. We'll definitely see this again. But expanded, you can see other columns, any one of which can be used for sorting, or reordered if some are more important to you than others. And if you right-click, there are other column types that are hidden by default. So there are a ton of ways to keep your project organized. But while the project window helps you keep all of the elements in a project organized, sometimes as you work, a project can get complicated enough that you lose track of which element is used where. For that, the flowchart panel is a handy way to visualize how the various elements relate to each other in a complex project. The flowchart view is sort of an org chart of a project, starting with the main composition, containing all of its related footage and any nested compositions. You can display the chart in any number of directions as needed, and despite the default view, you can rearrange elements any way you like to help you visualize the flow of layers and effects through your project. And lastly, there is a smaller mini flowchart view available down here in the timeline window. This doesn't give you as much resolution as the overall project flowchart, but it can be a quick way to navigate to embedded compositions in your current comp and then back again. Especially useful if you forgot to name your compositions and you end up with a bunch of elements called Comp 1, Comp 2, etc. The flowchart views are primarily there for visual reference. Unlike some other compositing environments, the flowchart view in After Effects is not designed to let you apply effects or direct the flow of nodes or anything like that. It's there as a visual aid so you can help visualize your project, navigate your project, and basically keep things under control.